Hi guys, welcome back to PBTV, and we have a very special video today with the new WE07. So, looks like a standard M4, but this thing is definitely has some tricks up its sleeve. So people that have seen the previous SMG video that we did on the WE06, which is like a PPK style platform that is a DSG. This has the same internals, but in an M4 platform. So we're going to go front to back, have a little look at the features on this thing, where it sits, how it plays, and how it will very likely interest you, whether or not it's CQB, outdoors, you want to put rate of fire downrange on people, this is definitely a platform to look at. But also it is extremely budget friendly, and we are going to trick it up and then take it onto the range and show you what it's actually capable of. So on the front, we have seen this flash hider before, the little tiny, sort of like a bird cage version. It's on the PPK, it's on the gas version of the PPK, the WE06, but this version is polymer. So this is a trend that goes on with this platform. Underneath here, we do have a 40mm counterclockwise thread, so you can whip that off. There is a hole for a grub screw, but currently in this one there isn't one, but do check that you remove your grub screw before taking your flash hider off, otherwise you will damage the threads, and it could cause problems putting any other devices on there. Again, underneath there, 40mm counterclockwise thread, so any of your standard tracer units, flash hiders, muzzle brakes, anything you want can go on the front. Behind that, in the barrel, we do have a 6.03 tightbore barrel, about 380-ish mil in length. So this thing is going to be very, very accurate with the sort of length of barrel you're getting. You're getting a tightbore, and then the features that the Kestrel Basic has inside. This thing will be an absolute powerhouse. And with it only being about 2 kilos, extremely lightweight, extremely maneuverable. You're going to be able to cut corners, cut through doors, and definitely engage very, very well with this thing, and very, very quickly. And again, the theme of this thing, it is full high-dense polymer. There's very little metal parts in this, keeping that weight down. Coming to the rail, another polymer part. We do have RIS across the top, M-LOK on the right, left and bottom. So what we will note with the M-LOK system on this, as you can see, there's M-LOK across the side here, and what looks like M-LOK on the angles. As you can see, they are straight down. It's just the way that they machine the plastic. The key mod point here and these bits of M-LOK are not M-LOK. Because it's been machined straight down, they're a bit elongated and a bit of a different shape. So the only actual mounting points you have on this are the actual flat sides, so on the 3, 6, and 9 o'clock. But again, it is a polymer system, keeping it lightweight. Anything going at an angle might cause a little bit too much leverage and cause damage. We've got the standard locking system at the back here, so the double screws and the wings, making sure this rail is absolutely rock solid on the front. Coming to the receiver, we've got that new sleek angled style receiver that's quite popular at the moment, giving it a really cool vibe, and we do have RIS across the top for any optics that you want in, so there's plenty of real estate across here for red dots, magnifiers, magnified optics, anything that you want will fit on the front top of here. But again, this thing is definitely leaning into that snap shooting rate of fire, so most likely you're going to go with a dot sight on this. Don't get me wrong, this thing will reach out and touch, but with it being a Kestrel Basic inside, there is no way to electrically lock this to semi. So a lot of people ask us, can it be made a DMR? They want to put a suppressor or bipod magnified optic on it. And because a lot of things have MOSFETs now, they want to lock it to semi-electrically and run it semi-auto at that slightly higher rate of fire. This thing's coming out the box about 320 FPS, 30 rounds a second with that 9:1 DSG gear ratio, but it has that Kestrel Basic. The only settings it has on the full auto is full auto and burst, so there's no way to change that to semi. When it comes to programming the Kestrel, it is all done through the trigger. As you can see with it on safe, the trigger still moves because it is a micro switch in there. All you're doing is you're pulling the trigger, going into the setting systems, changing it to semi-auto, and that allows you to do precocking in different settings, binary trigger, burst settings, all that kind of stuff to set this thing up to your exact specs so that your snap shooting, rate of fire, your sort of sort of overwhelming rate of fire that's going to be downrange is very, very good. What can be done with these, and we've seen it before, we will show you on the range, is pre-cocking a binary. Again, make sure your sight allows binary trigger, and what we mean by that is when you pull the trigger, it will fire a BB, and when you release the trigger, it will fire a BB. So a lot of sites consider that the same as full auto. So in CQB, you're probably not allowed to do it, and there are some sites that restrict to semi in certain areas and things like that, so make sure you are allowed to use it. But with pre-cocking, binary, and the trigger set up in a really, really good way, this thing's semi-auto is pretty much the same as a lot of other guns full auto. So be careful with it, know how to use it, and just use that to your advantage. Because what can be a little bit of a con for DSGs, a bit of a downside, is with that 30 rounds a second, a little pull of the trigger is dumping a lot of BBs. So the two ways to fight that: put it into binary, so you are getting that rate of fire and you're getting that suppression and you're getting people's heads down, or you can put it into burst fire. In here, we do have an 80 round magazine. We believe that the spring power in here is good enough to feed all 80 rounds into the hop, with it being a DSG and not misfeeding. We are going to test it with VPM1s and all the other sort of top-end magazines, just so you know that you can get that sort of higher ammo count, but it is coming with an 80-round mid-cap and a speed loader in the box. Do have a very nice ergonomic grip on here. It's very, very comfortable. When you sort of get these out of the box, when we're sort of prepping for these videos, we do sort of swing it around a little bit and just get our feel of it. And the controls on this thing are very sort of intuitive. It is slightly right-handed biased. We do have sort of ambidextrous sling and things like that. But as for controls, it is right-handed, with the selector being on the left, mag release on the right-hand side, dropping the 8-round mag out. But we do have an ambidextrous charging handle like a butterfly. Bringing that back, we'll find the rotary style hop in here. Again, making sure that you can get your BBs flat as possible when they're flying downrange. Standard crane style stock on this. Again, we are recommending an 11.1. It's quite rare that we do that, but with a DSG, it is fine. But again, we're probably going to swap this out when we trick this up, just to show that with this being quite a budget platform, it's very, very easy to just throw a few sort of extra housekeeping bits on it. But if you are keeping this stock, it is a little bit wobbly when it comes into positions, so standard practice is a little bit of electrical tape across the top of the stock tube, just takes that away. But it does give you a massive battery space in here. Just doing the two tabs at the back knocks the butt plate off, and you get two storage compartments for nunchuck batteries, or even putting two separate batteries in there, allowing you to swap mid-game if you're fearing this thing sort of slightly run out. So we could talk about this thing all day and just what it's capable of, how to do the settings and all like that, but the best way to do it is to take this thing up on the range. We'll trick it up a little bit, set it up, and show you what this thing is capable of when we get a battery in it. So join me on the range in 1 second. So we're up here on the range, guys. As you can see, we've added some accessories to the WE07. We've changed the stock just so it's a little bit more solid. In here, we have managed to fit a 1450 milliamp 11.1 battery. We've thrown an EPM1 in there. We have some 2.8 tracer BBs, a Vortex red dot, and we have thrown the Hasta Nebula mist tracer on here, just to show that it can keep up with this rate of fire. So initially, we have set this up with some level 4 pre-cocking and binary. So showing that coming off, what happens is we fire on the trigger pull and we fire on the release. What this allows you to do, quite comfortably get a lot of rounds downrange, but conserve ammo instead of being on full auto. But this thing's party trick is the full auto. But let's see what it's like with the lights off. So binary, and the party trick. And that's a whole EPM1. Well, guys, you can see we had a lot of fun up there. Pretty much an entire bottle of tracer BBs just sent downrange with this thing. You can see how fast it was getting through even the EPM1s. So that binary trigger, that burst setting is going to be extremely useful in ammo conservation. Getting through 250 rounds at that speed, again, It's down to the player to control that rate of fire and make sure you're using it correctly, but just showing that this thing did not miss a beat. That was with two 8-gram BBs. The mist tracer, just every single one, absolutely amazing. So I do think these are going to be incredibly popular, very, very budget friendly. So as you can see, we threw a few bits on it just to change that look up with the CTR stock, the EPM1, the Vortex Red Dot, and the mist tracer. So options are available for you to trick this thing up however you see fit. How would you do it? Would you want something a bit more magnified? Would you change the stock? Would you run short EPM mags? Would you run a high cap? What would you put on the front of it? Let us know. We're very excited for people to get these and throw them out on the field and enjoy them. So if you have enjoyed this, please leave a comment down below of how you'd set yours up. But that is everything for today, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye.